I'm not gonna lie, I'm cooked. Okay, um, starting school back up has been really tough. Every semester since freshman year, I tell myself like this semester I won't get behind. I'll study ahead of time. I won't have any late work. I'll study for exams, but I can never be as consistent as I want to. But in reality, I've never had good studying habits, and it was especially bad during COVID-19 during my seventh and eighth grade year. Like up until freshman year, I think I was like the best student. I would always study. I'd always ask questions. I'd do everything right, and then like we had like SAT testing, and I really studied for that. But then COVID canceled the SAT testing, and I felt like I was like very ready. But once they canceled it and moved it back, when I actually took the SAT, I was like, brother, I haven't studied at all, and I just like went in blind, and that is kind of how I've attacked this entire, like every single, everything in college basically, um, which sucks because I really want to know lots of these things. Like I'm here to like learn, right? And part of me doesn't want to, and that's really sad. Like I just took this immunology class, and even when I'm telling people that I've taken it, I can't name a single thing that I learned because I just BS my way through the class most of the time. Like all of the tests were just done guessing, and I barely passed with a passing grade, C minus. That's a story for another day. But I just remember freshman year, I made a video for myself. Like after I came in as a biochemistry major, I wanted to go to dental school, and I made a promise to myself. Or I made a video for myself saying, "Oh, in the future, I hope you see this, watch this video, and realize like everything worked out. Like you're fine. Like even though it was hard, like you got this, right? You did it." And I think that was when I thoroughly messed up because and gave up because after that I made that video, I went back to playing games. Not like I made that video and then started studying. I made that video and started working harder. It's like no, I made that video and kind of like gave up because I was just trying to whisk myself into the future. There was this dude when I was playing League. I think I was winning, but he was like, "Oh, what do you want to do with your life?" And I said like, "Oh, I want to be a dentist to help people or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna make it." And it made sense. It makes sense looking back at it because in order to be a dentist, you can't just be because I want to help people. There has to be like a love for it because of just how hard it is to get there. Like all the schooling is one thing, but then the debt is another thing, and you're gonna get knocked down so much. And I just realized like, yeah, is this something that I'm gonna like doing when I'm like 30, right? Am I gonna enjoy my life, or should I instead look for something that I want to do? I think I really want to get into this in another video because I learned a lot about how that type of thinking is very, um, it's not very useful practically because we live in a capitalist system, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you don't have money, there's less mobility that you really have and options that you really have. The problem I'm having now is when I walk to my classes, I keep having these thoughts, wondering if other people are looking at me, judging me. It's so odd. I've been telling myself I have so much potential that not being confident in who I am is really bad for my development, and I know I really need to work on it. But I just get so self conscious when I'm like walking, when I'm riding my bike, that people are thinking I don't even know, but it's just such a negative internal thought. I have been trying to work on relationships though. I've been talking to people of the opposite gender, friendly and like romantically. I've been making friends. I have times planned to go hang out with people in the future. I'm enjoying lots of my classes since like they're labs, and I really feel confident about this semester for some reason, especially since I haven't missed anything yet. I still I just can't help but get into my head. when I'm walking or sitting in class. It doesn't help that everyone is like mellow, chill, and kind of like in a down mood. No one really wants to like answer the teacher's questions. People don't say much unless they're talking to their friends. And this makes it so if you don't have any friends, it's really hard to get into any of these groups, which I guess is up to you if you really want to be in them. I just don't know where my self confidence is. Why can't I look people in the eye? Why is my head always down? I don't understand. I'm assuming it's probably because of like it's a lack of like self activation, self promotion. I need to level up. I used to go to the gym like a lot, and I wasn't like buff or whatever, but I think I had like a physique I was proud of, and I was always like gaining. Um, I just need to like do stuff, new hobbies, go swimming, just like do more stuff. And I just recently left my job, so I have more time now. Finding motivation for these things is hard. I do like talking and making videos. I do like this, and even if they don't get views, as I think I said before, it's more so a place to hold my thoughts, and then maybe in the future I'll give it to my kids so they know that when I was younger, I made mistakes too. I think that's very important. It's just crazy because freshman year, to go back to the class thing a little bit, freshman year, I was such a good student. Freshman year of high school, I mean, I was such a good student, and I knew a lot of people, and people said I was popular. I didn't really feel it, but I knew a lot of people. People knew me as the guy that asked questions in class. I read all of the stuff that I needed to, like beforehand, the day before, um, and then it just started to go downhill. But obviously, the whole point is what are you going to do now moving forward? How are you going to get better now moving forward? Giving yourself grace for habits, making sure that you're making friendships, you're making relationships, just like attempting to improve, right? Why would you focus on something that you can't control anymore? I think it's still helpful to think about these thoughts though. Like today, I'm in my class, my pharmacology class, and I think like my questions are dumb. And I think it's mainly because one, I didn't read the material beforehand, right? Which I should do, and I'm going to try to do moving forward. But because of my lack of motivation, my lack of attention to my previous classes, whenever I have a question and I'm trying to use prior knowledge, I'm questioning the question I have, as in, like, is this just really basic knowledge that everyone should know? And I'm just misconstruing it because I've I didn't really listen. But I remember when I did really like work hard and look at all the stuff, all the material. Lots of the questions were like very like simple questions, right? It's like, oh, how does this work? Because I know this, and that's what I wanted to like really get good at, like asking good questions. I think that could be a really good skill that I really want to develop. Like having like meta conversations that are pretty interesting about humans and human dynamics. That's nice. That's good and dandy. But I think there's a need for me to actually have questions that show that I've done some type of reading, some type of research, that I know something, not just questions that even a 5-year-old could come up with with a good amount of thinking. But I do think there is a time and place and necessary times like for that question of, for example, like, oh, what were your dreams? How were your dreams like? Do you dream? Like those types of like really like internal question, like, oh, would you want to like go to space, or would you rather people just get really efficient at using the earth supplies? Like those types of like questions that in my opinion, really get to know someone. But I think what really scratches someone's brain is when you ask them a question that reminds them of something they've read before, and they're like, oh yeah, or it makes them think, or it gives them a thought that you've read the same thing they have, and they have questions, and you two can kind of mesh that way. I just need to get better at it. Um, and I'm sure I will. I have so many plans for this channel and like things I want to talk about. And I wonder if people either like think the same way or feel the same way or have the same questions about things. I guess I have like a whole list of things I want to talk about, and I don't think it's gonna run out for a while. But once it does, I guess I'll just like move on to something else, just like I did with this job, right? I just like moved on from it, and part of me feels really bad because I remember when I came into my boss's office for the first time, and I was very like motivated, ready to do work. I was like, yeah, let's go. How can I help? And I was like ready to pick on everything, right? Take on like whatever the challenges, let me get it. Social media, let me handle it. If it's this, if it's logistics, let me handle that. I got it. I'm gonna take care. I'm gonna do this, this, and that, right? And of course, I think I learned a lot, right? But I'm like realizing, like, yeah, I don't. This is with the major that I've chosen and the type of workload that is, and having to manage all this stuff while also wanting to find like new things I'm interested in, also wanting to work on the YouTube channel, also wanting to work on like getting better at some sports, working on my physical health, taxes, and all the dumb stuff happening with my family. It's just like it's just so much of my energy getting usurped, and it it takes me back to being like an unreliable black man because I've made so many, I don't want to say promises, but so many commitments that I don't want to let any of them go. Like even going to my boss's office to tell her that I couldn't do it anymore. That was like hard. Even though like an hour before when I was thinking about doing it, and I didn't think about it just before, just prior to, I thought about it for a while. Each time I was like, should I be doing this? It was always like a resounding yes, 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 yes. When I finally got in front of her to tell her, my entire body was just screaming no. Whatever. Not whatever. I don't think I regret this decision. I don't think I'll regret this decision though. It's Mars. I stream, but I haven't been streaming recently because school's mucked up. But I think it's probably better that I focus mainly on just making videos. And when I do have time to stream, then I'll do that. Um, yeah. Stay safe. Don't die.